How are you diddling? As a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever other cheesy label you want to be given, or you deny wanting to be given, I think something to get really clear on and have clarity around is the fact that we're thinking athletes. The majority of our time is spent thinking about what needs to be done, processing that information, drawing conclusions, fast, working with people, maybe only a few, maybe a lot, figuring out solutions, to lots of problems in a variance of departments across the business or businesses. And what's my point in bringing this up and sharing it? And in my standard style, I've got no notes here, no, script to go off. And this is just deeply inspired by, some time I spent with, one of our clients this afternoon. Is the fact that you have to be able to have the audacity and the purposeful thinking to harmonize as much of your life, not your business, your life, so yourself personally and your relationships as much as possible. Because if those subsectors of your life are not harmonious and they're bringing you nothing but drama and they're draining your energy and there's arguments and there's fallouts and there's just lots of unnecessary friction, then your ability to think with clarity and with deep, meaningful purpose gets dragged away from you extremely violently. Extremely. You see, and then people wonder why they have a hard time making their business a success, why they don't have the level of creativity or just raw thinking and, thought horsepower, if you want to call it that. Because all of their energy, even if it's only 10, 15, 20, 30, 40%, that's a hell of a lot of power that's lost through things that could be harmonized, that could be way more peaceful than what they are right now. So I just want to share with you some of the things that, we've done ourselves, Elaine and I, over the years to find that peace and harmony, and then how we've translated our own experiences into helping other people do that. So then they can press the right buttons, pull the right levers, and get the maximum and the most efficient path or ways out of their business, to maximize profits, increase client intake, depending on the type of business model that you've got. So I would say this is probably one of our biggest sticking points when we really started to, press, put our foot down on the accelerator in business, was we kept coming up against like similar themes of throttle, of like just the conduit just wasn't big enough for us to travel at enough speed or with enough force. And it was always sat inside of us personally as individuals, pardon me, and then us as a unified couple, or, back then there was a lack of unification. And I have to hold my hands up and wear the responsibility. And she might tell me off and say, there was, sort of 50-50, or, it's 100 on 100, you can't take responsibility for my stuff. But I felt like my own personal challenges and issues were, the main fire that needed putting out, and then that played into, Elaine's and then ours as a couple and the family life. And then eventually, the ferocity of that fire and those challenges were just strangulating anything that we tried in business, because there was no energy, there was no fuel left in the tank by the time, the majority, had been spent on that shit. That's the truth. And we repeated that cycle, for a good while before finally making the realization and the, you dummy, this is what needs fixing before this can, grow in the direction or with the force that you want it to. And we've seen this be the case time and time and time again for all the different types of businesses and the unique individuals, and whether they're coaches, consultants, agency owners, graphic designers, photographers, bike shop owners, web designers, SEO specialists, hypnotherapists, behavior change coaches, you name it. It's always the same thing. It was never a business problem. It was always personal challenges, personal problems, and, relationship issues that were playing out into the business that looked like business problems, but they really weren't. Because you only need to take a look around, if you do just a little bit of homework. But if you spend any time on the internet, you're being marketed to, as much as I am, as much as the next person, with this system and that system. Don't do this. This is a waste of time. This is the only business model to build. Don't use this lead generation system. Don't sell like this. Don't get on sales calls. Only sell via email. Only sell via DMs. The list just goes on and on and on. Now, I can tell you, with hand on heart, and, been able to look my own children in the eyes, every lead generation system, every marketing system, every form of creating content works. They all work. The key factor behind, or factors perhaps, that sit behind what lead gen systems work or don't work, and all the other itty bitty bits, it's the human. It's the effectiveness of the human. If the human doesn't know how hard to pull the lever, when to press the button, or if they're emotional about pressing the buttons, and there's fear and, the scarcity, then the buttons don't get pressed at the right time. The lever doesn't get pulled down to the right degree. There's not enough force behind the things that are being done. That's the truth. So everything works. And there's that. And then the other thing is, if the human doesn't have clarity and can't see, through the trees and through the mess, the human isn't able to spot which lead gen or marketing system or opportunity is actually perfect for them. Which one sits inside of their zone of genius. Experience and personal belief tells me that everybody has a unique power, a unique advantage. Maybe you're a person that, has been told that you're handsome or you're good looking and, you spent a lot of time on camera. you're probably going to have some silent belief buried into your subconscious that being on video is the best thing you could ever do. So you spend hours and hours and hours and years and years and years doing that thing, practicing and sharpening and just getting so good at it that it's just natural. It's like breathing. Or maybe you're a person that excelled at writing when you were younger, and everybody from a young age has told you, wow, the words that you string together are just so eloquent. Everything that you write is like poetry. So guess what? You do more and more and more of that thing. Or maybe you get told that you have such a unique voice. You should read audiobooks. You should make podcasts because I could listen to you for hours. So guess what? You start doing that thing and then you practice it and you get so goddamn good at it that everyone forgets that you were just told that that was the thing. Guess what you can't do or recognize when your life is being throttled and taken up with small problems, with little things. If you don't get your personal life in order, and you've not got your relationships, those two areas, harmonized and peaceful, and you've got no personal power, guess what? You will struggle. And I don't like, and I despise using the word struggle. It sounds so negative, but you will. I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to struggle because you don't have the energy and I'm talking literally and metaphorically, but your chin is so low down to your chest and your eyes are on the floor that you don't even have the muster in yourself to look up and beyond and breathe deeply. Instead, everything's done down here and everything's such a big effort because, I can't be bothered arguing again. I can't be bothered going through all this crap. That's not how you're going to run a successful business. I'm telling you, and you know it. So what can you do about it? Well, the first thing is you've got to get honest with yourself. You've got to get honest with yourself. Don't push the blame onto anybody else. What can you control? You can't control other people. You can only control your own thoughts and how you react to things, to stimulus. That's it. You don't have control over anything else in the whole universe. That's it. So you need to take some ownership. What can you do in order to change the current reality that you experience and the current trajectory that you're on? That's an honest question you've got to ask yourself, and then immediately, you can take some time if you like, but there's no time better than the here and the now, and then take immediate action. What are you going to do about it? That's where you've got to start. The second thing on top of that is then drawing others in on this change that you're going to experience, that you're dedicating yourself to. The closest person with you. Maybe that's your partner, maybe, your husband, your wife, the person that you sleep next to every night. If you haven't got a significant other like that, maybe it's a best friend, maybe it's a, family member that you're close with. But you need some level of accountability. You've got to have that. Because if you've been in that place, that rut or that struggle for some time, without accountability, the studies around this, go look it up. I'm not going to babysit you. But you can go and Google the studies that have been done around accountability and how much more people achieve when they are accountable to someone. I'm sorry. Pardon me. This is all part of the real video experience you're getting right now. Without the accountability, people get nowhere near the same level of result or outcome. Truth. Okay? So that's the second thing you've got to do. So get honest with yourself, get straight about what you're going to change, what that looks like, and then be held accountable. The third thing is sticking to it. If, for example, like if I just use myself, because that's the easiest thing to do here. If, you are creating arguments, with the person closest with you and you're just causing chaos inside a family life and causing upset. Number one, you need to take ownership. Number two, there's the accountability. Number three is then sticking with the promises or the things you said you were going to do for the long term. Commitment to the point of where when you look back after whatever period of time, you yourself are unrecognizable to you. You don't even know who that person was from a few months ago or a few weeks ago. That's how hard and drastic and dedicated you have to be to change the self, to change the who, to change the you. Business is just fucking brutal otherwise. And you have to be in the mindset of, I am a thinking athlete when it comes to the business. I am a problem-solving machine. And without that level of brain power available, that horsepower, by clearance of the rest of your life and finding peace and harmony in all departments, you won't be able to put the level of effort, dedication, or thinking into that to make it be as fruitful as you want it to be. I'm just being brutally honest with you. I can tell you that from spending enough time within our own businesses and the things that we've personally been through, as well as with hundreds and hundreds of other business owners, entrepreneurs. I'm talking inside of huge corporate companies, as well as down to one person, type businesses. It's always the case. It's always the human. It's always the human that needs solving first, that needs the love, the care, the nurturing, and sometimes the shoving. Sometimes the sharp words or the hard love or the tough love, in order to get the result that we're looking for. So I hope that helps today. Let me know in the comments if it does. I'll see you in the next one.